Bitcoin's some sort of both a bull and a bear in the same day.
So we are in the middle of a Bitcoin boom.
Satoshi Nakamoto and Bitcoin.
Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, this has been the question that has been in people's minds for the past 16 years. Who is he? Where did he come from? What was he doing? Who are they if it's not a he? Or who is she? So, Satoshi Nakamoto, the founder of Bitcoin, the one who wrote the white paper, released it to the public as an open source code, and people continued with it. He was the first to mine the Genesis block on the blockchain of Bitcoin back then in 2009. And now look at where we are. Almost 20 million coins mined 16 years later, and a couple of more to go. So today's topic, I want to talk a bit about Satoshi Nakamoto, post some questions in your head, and just keep you guessing or wondering, or also sparking that interest of what is going on, who is he, what was his bravest or best creation, and why is it so valuable that he had to be anonymous at the end of the day. But before that, there's a lot that has been happening online. If you know, you watched our previous podcast with Ken, I talked about information markets, predictive markets. And for the past couple of months, this market has always kept me up to date with what is happening around the world. Who are the biggest winners, losers? What is going on the crypto space? What's going on in elections, companies? It's really put me up to speed with a lot of things. And I have a lot to share as well. But for today, I want to talk about a certain topic I found about some crypto whale who is in the market. And I'll pose a question to you before I tell you about this person. We're giving you the chance to learn Forex for free at Financial Hub, but there's a little twist to it. All you need to do is fund your Paperstone account, and boom, you're all in. Deposit $100 and get access to our basic course. Perfect for beginners. Or deposit $250 and get access to our exclusive course that is best for advanced traders. Why is this huge? Because you get to learn while you earn. Trade the real money and get real experience. And also you get lifetime access. Once you're in, you're in. Now, let's say you had $3 million, okay? And you've grown this $3 million in the past couple of months to about $13 million in profit. So it's around 16 million plus, okay? So 13 point something million dollars in profit. You have about 16 million plus sitting in your bank account. Now, the question I'd like to pose to you people is this person profitable? Would you say he is a profitable person? Would you say those are good returns in a couple of months? Being able to make $13 million in profit from only a starting capital of $3 million. Well, that is quite outstanding returns. If you put this in Kenya shillings, let's just put it into context. And let's use on a minimum side using the exchange rate of Kenya shilling to the dollar at 100. So $1 equals 100 Kenya shillings. At the moment, it's currently at 129, 130. But for easy math, on the lower side, lower side, let's use 100, okay? So if you have $3 million, this is basically someone with over 300 million Kenya shillings. And this 300 million Kenya shillings, in a couple of months, you grew it to over 1.6 billion Kenya shillings. From only 300 million, now you have 1.6 billion Kenya shillings. Now, my friends, those are monies some of you could, in a lifetime, will never see. Hopefully, you're able to see since you're following us here at Financial Hub, because we are hopeful that we will also see and have that amount of money. But the question is those are good returns? Well, to me, I'd say those are quite good returns, man. You took 3 million, you've more than quadrupled it. It's now sitting at 16 million. That's not kidogo money. That's quite money that a lot of people who could or would die for. Okay? So that's the question. Now, I'll change the story and change the script. Okay? So hold that answer in your head. Okay? Now, let me change the script and I'll tell you the reality of what actually happened. And here is where I want to start a certain debate or a certain question. And I think in the next podcast when we have with Ken, if he won't have heard me talking about this, I'll do it with him in a questionnaire and see just to pick his mind, because I have my own personal opinion. I would like to hear what you guys say and what Ken says. And I won't say my answer in this video Maybe I'll talk about it in a different video so that you guys, first, I don't want you guys to be biased. I just want you guys to think about it. Okay. Now, the true story of this person, and I'll show you. Now, if you look at my screen now, this is what I want us to talk about today, Satoshi Nakamoto, an article that I wrote. But before that, I want to talk about this person. This person is on Twitter and goes by the name James Wine. Okay. Now, if you look at this image, okay, you can see he grew his money. This is the profit on top, about 13 million plus in profit. You can see his account is sitting at quite a good profit. Now, the real story is, and let me just close this so that we read it here. Okay, now let's go here, show more. The swings have been insane recently. We started this account with approximately $3 million. And at one point, it ran up close to $100 million. Currently, still in a whopping profit of $13 million. If you can't expect not have huge swings when gambling around 40x leverage. However, as I like to say, the comeback is always greater than the setback. I survived a razor-thin liquidation today. I believe I'm about to run this account back to 100 million double time full throttle. The haters will despair. The whiners, now he's called Wine, so the whiners will be inspired. So a couple of things to pay attention to. What is this person doing? Okay. Now we want to look at a few traders. It's just analyzing how traders trade. And this is a whale. So one thing they've called him is a whale. You can even see his emoji. He has a whale. So a whale in the crypto market or any market, financial market, these are the big players. Now this, I wouldn't really term as a whale personally. As an individual, we could say he's a whale. But as a market maker, market mover, I wouldn't really term this person as a whale. Okay, and I've talked about this in a different video where you go to whalewisdom.com, and I've showed you guys this site before where you get to track, okay, the biggest, world's best investors, the guys with the money, the Warren Buffett, the Ray Dalio, the Kevin Griffin, the Schwarzman, the Larry Fink, the PTJs. Those are the whales. So a whale is someone with a lot of money who, when they invest in a certain market, they can somehow affect the price of that market. Now, that is a whale. Now, I wouldn't really term this person as a whale, but still, it's quite trading quite some large amounts to a certain extent. He could be. Number two, he's leveraged 40x. So meaning if he has a 1 million, he's controlling a market of about $40 million. So if he has 3 million, he's controlling a market value of about $120 million. So when he puts that position in 40x leverage, and it's fully active, it's fully using the whole amount of leverage, then he's heavily leveraged. When markets move a certain amount, he could easily quadruple his money, but he could also easily lose his money. Remember, leverage is a double-edged sword. Okay? Now, that's what this person did. Now, remember, Bitcoin and cryptos are highly volatile. So this guy is playing with a highly volatile market. So in real essence, this guy's made $13 million in profit. He had $3 million, took it all the way to 100 million. Now, let me show you. There's a graph here. You can see here. Okay? Double tap. So you can see here, started off, made a bit of losses, then he ran it up all the way. Look, guys, you can see this. Ran it up all the way to nearly, it was about $87 million, so nearly $100 million. And then it crashed all the way back down to $13 million in profit. So he easily lost over 70, because it was around 87 to be exact. So it's now sitting at $17 million in profit. So he lost about $70 million. And the question is, and the debate that I'll ask you guys, is this a profitable trader? He's still in profit. Okay, you can see here he said he's still in a whopping profit of $13 million. Or is he a loser? As many of yours will say, how can you run an account to 100 million, nearly 100 million, and then lose 70 million, and you're happy that you have the $13 million, which is still profit? Okay, so that's the debate. So is this person a profitable? Let's not think of long term. I'm not talking of long term like will he make money in the future. Let's talk about this scene, this scenario at this moment. Is this a good trade he took that is actually profitable, or is it bad? Are you paying attention to the profit he's made, which he's still in profit? Or are you paying attention to the unrealized loss, or actually the realized loss? Okay, because it wasn't really realized. He didn't close this like he had 100 million and then took a trade and lost it. It was still the same trade that took him up, then took him back down. So will you tell and say this is a loser because he lost all that money, or is he a profitable trader? That's the question. And someone came and criticized his post, and he had a very good reply. So let me click here. So he had a very good reply. So here, someone came and said, bro just casually lost $70 million. But I like the question he came and posed back. Okay, and this is where the debate is. Is it losing when you're in profits? If you go to a casino with $1,000, turn it into $10,000, but leave with $5,000, did you make $4,000 or lose $5,000? Then he said he had broken mindset. So that's the question I'll pose to you. What do you think about this, guys? You can tell me in the comments below. Before you hear my point of view, I just wanted to pose this because I was talking to a couple of friends and I said, okay, it's quite a debate. I'd like to see how people think about this and what they say. But please, let's be interactive. Don't share away. Just comment in the comment section below. Say James Wine, that was a good trade, still in profit, or that was a bad trade, he lost a lot of money. And I'll come give you my point of view in the next couple of videos. So back to Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, this is an article I wrote the other day, and I normally share this on my Instagram channel. If you follow my Instagram, first of all, you can follow me on Twitter. I do a couple of tweets here, Caleb Sami Trades. Okay, that's my name, CK_Caleb. You can see I post things about predictive markets, about cryptocurrency. You can go and check those out, and soon more to come. Okay, now, this is an article I wrote the other day, and I also share, like I'm saying, on my Instagram, I share on my Twitter, and I also share with my predictive market students because this is quite different. And the underlying base of predictive markets, the decentralized predictive markets, is blockchain and is powered by blockchain, and we use cryptocurrency as our currency of exchange on there. So these days I'm very full on crypto stuff, running on this second or this layer 2 applications that run on top of the blockchain. Okay, now I wrote this article the other day, and the link is below if you want to read it more further. Today I just want to discuss a little bit about it. The $120 billion ghost, unraveling the mystery of Satoshi Nakamoto. As of today, Nakamoto has 1.096 million crypto bitcoins in his wallet. They've not been touched, they've not been moved, they haven't gone anywhere. Now the question is Satoshi Nakamoto still around? Is he there? Is he a ghost? Is it a person? Is it all those? Now those are things I've provokingly asked in the written in this article, and just want to pick your mind and just have what you guys think. Okay, he's currently valued at $120 billion, taking all those cryptocurrency into the current dollar exchange at around $110,000 per Bitcoin. His net worth sits, in terms of those cryptos, the Bitcoins, it sits over $120 billion, making him one of the top 10 richest people in the world, richer than Jensen Huang, who's the founder and CEO of NVIDIA, and not far away from Zuckerberg and Bezos. Okay, now in an era where tech entrepreneurs dominate the billionaires list, it's worth noting the silent shift that's brewing up slowly behind the scenes. Look, remember, back then in the 1900s, when it was a revolution and all that, we had a lot of the rich people in the oil, train, and transport industry, the likes of Rockefeller, Andrew Carnegie, this other guy that I really like. He was a big competitor of Rockefeller. What's his name? Not Carnegie. There's another oil train person. Imenitoka. But anyway, those are the people we had. Then come early 1900s, we had a lot of wars. So money was made, money was lost here and there. And it was a lot of up and down. But come the late, after the 1950s, we had the technological boom starting to come up. We started seeing the likes of Bill Gates. We started seeing the likes of the IBM founder, forgotten about him. We started seeing the Apples, the Steve Jobs and such people. And that really took a very good run. And then now the internet really blossomed. And one thing I'd like to say is give a shout out to Linux. What's his real name? I also wrote an article on him. So if you come here, I'll share this link. There's here these links that I wrote about here. I wrote about him. Where is he? Here. I wrote about Linux. So come and read this. So shout out to Linus Torvalds. If Torvalds did not create Linux kernel is the layer 1 internet protocol that everything runs on. It was started as an experiment the same way Bitcoin started. So Linux, so I was giving sort of that Satoshi Nakamoto and Linux correlation where they created something that they did not control and created an open source where people could come in and correct, fix bugs, add their own advancements to those codes that have been created, and they decentralized that. Now, everything on the internet runs, not everything, I wouldn't say per se that it's not everything, but most of the internet runs on Linux. Without Linux, we could not have Android phones, we could not have Netflix, we could not have many things that you use on a day-to-day basis, Google, okay? You wouldn't be able to use it because these things run on the layer of, and I know it's quite technical, but Linux, it's important to understand this guy and how it worked. So I've written about it, how he created this as an open source. This is now Bitcoin as a public ledger, global participation. Same thing Linus Torvalds did back then. And he's a Finnish guy, not even someone from the United States. So if you see, Linux, Android phones couldn't exist. Servers like Google, Facebook, Amazon, supercomputers, smart devices, and the internet itself, even Bitcoin itself couldn't exist because they run, the blockchain network runs on top of Linux. Okay, now that's a story for another day, but you can read it here. Very good. You guys have access to this. Just click the link below and you'll have access to all of these articles and read them. Okay, but back to Satoshi. So that's what Satoshi did. Created sort of an open book where people could come and look at this Bitcoin, look at the white paper and invest in it. But the question still remains, who is Satoshi Nakamoto? Fast forward to today. Over 15,000 cryptocurrencies exist. And I'd also correct it a bit. Okay. If you go to coin market cap, and I said this before, if you look here, whoa, cryptocurrencies that exist is 16 million. Trust me, today morning, I think it was yesterday, I was looking at this. I hadn't refreshed it. I just refreshed it today. There are only 15 million cryptos existing. When I started trading in crypto, I remember back then, there were less than 5,000 Bitcoins. 5,000 cryptos. A few years later, and that was 2018, 2017. A few years later, we have 16 million. And I think over a million just added overnight. These ones didn't exist. But since 2009 to now, over 16 million cryptos exist. And don't be surprised in the next couple of years if this hits over 100 million, maybe hit 1 billion. That would be crazy, man. But that's the number of cryptos that exist. Now, the question is, will Bitcoin still work if we knew who Satoshi Nakamoto was? Because perhaps anonymity was the greatest innovation of all, not Bitcoin itself. Because look, if Satoshi was a central entity, and we live in a world where people look up to this, and I wrote it in that code, people look up to a CEO, a figure that people like Elon Musk, and we want to follow. You see the way Elon Musk is taking charge and pushing off the Doge and the coin and the agenda of that direction, and people tend to follow that, believing that Elon Musk knows what he's doing. But perhaps anonymity could be the greatest innovation, not Bitcoin itself. Bitcoin, yes, you cannot undermine the superiority and the complexity and the sophistication of how it works and how it runs in the world. But at the same time, mixing that with anonymity could have been the greatest innovation of all. Because if Satoshi was a person and we knew who he was, I don't think people will believe in it. Who are you? Why are you controlling this? Why do you have all these coins? Because with 1 million coins in his pocket, he controls 5% of the global circulation of the currency. Now, imagine Bitcoin has a worldwide domination and worldwide acceptance. And the whole world, over 8 billion people are using Bitcoin as a currency of exchange, and everyone believes in it. And one person alone has the power of 5%. It's like controlling 5% of United States US dollar. Now, this is even much bigger because I'm trying to say, imagine the whole world is using it. The whole world has accepted it. At that time, the price of Bitcoin will be at crazy prices. When we get mass adoption, the price of Bitcoin will be crazy. And the question could really be is, if Satoshi Nakamoto is worth 120 billion, what if the cryptocurrency, one Bitcoin, 10x's from 100,000 that it currently is at to $1 million per coin? That will easily make Satoshi Nakamoto a trillionaire in today's world. But the question is who is he? Is he human? What will happen? Will it still work if we knew who Satoshi Nakamoto was? That's a question I pose to you. You can also let me know in the question below. This is just posing rhetoric, thought-provoking questions for you guys. Why hasn't he moved a single coin? 16 years, not a single transaction. No signs of life, no cryptographic signature, nothing. Why? Was this the ultimate exit from ego, to create something so valuable then vanish? Or is there something more? Was it deliberate, a psychological tactic to increase myth and mystique? If one day even a single coin moves from Satoshi's wallet, what will happen to the market? Will it crash? Will it rally in awe? Does it signal a return or a betrayal to the mass? Another question, is Satoshi human or something else? Many have speculated he's an individual genius. Many have speculated it's a collective of coders, people brought in together that did this. And if it's a collective collection of coders, then this is a very secretive collection of coders. Because look, human is to human nature. Greed happens and people will really get angry at each other not really angry, but human is to human error. And they want that feel and ego that they are Satoshi. We are the ones who created, the one that are grandiose or celebratory celebration and applause from everyone. And it will really spark that interest between them of who gets to say who they are, how they created, why they created it. It will bring people have a lot of questions. So to me, I personally believe Satoshi should remain anonymous for life. We should never know who Satoshi was, who he is, the same way God is mysterious and people have not seen his face. Yes, we hear about him. He talks to us through different ways if you believe in religion. That is with respect to all religions. I think we should remain Satoshi this. And I think if he can remain anonymous, then we can have a long-term stabilization and adoption of this. But if it comes down to a single entity, a single person, a single individual, where we can cause and ask him a lot of things and anything he says will really affect the market, I think it should remain as it is. So if it's a collective of coders, quite smart. And I hope, give or take, they could have signed a very tough NDA where no one can speak and say anything about this to anyone, not even a single soul. Because any soul that knows, remember, if something, there's no secret if it's among two people. I don't believe there's such a thing. Two people keep a secret, that is no longer a secret. A secret dies with one person and one person only. It's the same way in the crypto world. You have your own crypto wallet and the keys and all those things. You keep it to yourself. Those are yours. Just share it with one person. Trust me, it can get to the next person. Or a front of intelligence agency, maybe some people speculate it's the CIA. You never know. Okay? Or an emergent AI birthed from the dark web. That's another speculation. Maybe it was a dark web, not a dark web, but an AI that came out back then that people were working on, and they prompted it to work on a certain cryptocurrency, maybe. And it worked on this something and released it to the world. ChatGPT, DeepSeek, maybe. You never know. These are all speculations. And I think we could continue to ask these questions for eternity. Is Satoshi one person, or is he everybody who believed in decentralization? Is he dead or watching? That's the question that's asked. At $400,000 per Bitcoin, Satoshi surpasses Elon Musk to become the world's richest person. At $1 million, he becomes a trillionaire. But here's the kicker. What if he never sells? Can you still believe he's the richest person if you never use your wealth? The rise and class of billionaires and etc. So come and read it here. I think I've just gone through it a lot, but it's not thought-provoking, and I'd really like to spark these questions to also you guys. And the reason I'm doing this is because of late I've been studying a lot of what collective wisdom is, the wisdom of the crowds, collective wisdom, collective intelligence, collective decision making, as a way of getting the truth, as a way of finding what is actually right and what is wrong. Because at the end of the day, what is right and what is wrong is based on people's opinions and people's beliefs. And I can't just come outrightly and say myself, I believe this is wrong. No, I look at the law, what has been collectively brought together by a group of scholars and smart and philosophers and whatever view, and they decided this is what is right and this is what is wrong. So they're just humans, but they were collective. It wasn't one person. It's not a dictatorship. Law is not a dictatorship type of controlling system that has been created. It's sort of like collective wisdom, intelligence. And me studying predictive markets, information markets with a different view. I don't look at it as a way of just monetarily making money or a way of profiting and trading. I look at it as a way of sourcing information from the crowd itself instead of you as an entity. And studies have been done a lot, and I talked about this in the different podcasts that with Ken on predictive markets, that it's been studied that a collective group of people tend to be smarter than one expert in a certain field, because they bring diverse opinions, diverse open-mindedness, diverse reasoning to find out what is true. Unlike an expert who on his own could be very wise, very smart, have a very high IQ, but they're still humans. They're still biased. They could be pushing on one direction and really debating on that side emotionally, but not really in a rational, unbiased way. So those are the questions we still ask from day to day. So understanding the collective of crowds and Polymarket has been one of those entities that has allowed me to see the collective crowd and the collective wisdom live in its glory. Okay, and I don't know, I might be ahead of my time, but I really believe this is the future of understanding collective intelligence. So that's why I ask these questions, and I want you guys to participate below. In order for us to get that collective wisdom and get that one understanding together, people will bring a lot of views, a lot of different backgrounds, different conspiracies, different opinions, biases, thoughts, ideas about Satoshi, about whatever. But I'd really like to see them, really like to hear what you guys say and comment and have what have you. And in a different video, I'll come and follow up this video and we talk about what we actually think, or who we think Satoshi Nakamoto is. Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are things I wanted to talk about today, about the James wine. So answer me that also and tell me what you think about Satoshi Nakamoto and the future of cryptocurrencies. So that's it from me, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video, and without ado, like I always say, stay woke, stay financially literate, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.